This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
I know things didn't work out too well to start the week. We'll get to that later.
Since I've been picking up, I guess, flavoured people, but it's Anais Smith.
Yeah, who says that's a problem?
Aussie?
My team's going to be fucking bulletproof.
Yeah, lad went bananas.
That should be a whole segment. Who's your favourite receiver that sounds like an accountant that's going to have 2 targets?
NFL?
You just tease. All you do is let me hang around the rim and like nothing.
I've lost my goddamn mind.
Fantasy.
The Jags are just, no offense, Matty, but they're just poo.
Or he's had Spencer Rattler as his quarterback. I mean, that's like having herpes.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
I've already hit the first marker I need, and it's basically vomit. I want vomit.
I hate it. Sticky floors, yeah.
Australia's premier NFL fantasy football show is back. You're listening to the Aussie Gridiron Network, and this is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show. Hey, they call me Matty C, and with me tonight, well, and every time you meet me, I'm with Australia's finest fantasy football analyst. His name's Taylor Goodall.
Boys, I am full of jizz. My balls weigh a ton. It's time for week 11. Let's go.
11? Really?
Mate, I'll make any rhyme work to what I want to do. So, mate, that's where I'm going with. Ton and 11.
So you say work, but I mean, I think you say work. I don't know if other people would.
No, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, Matty. So, look, I think that was a beautiful rhyme, and that's all that matters.
Mate, I'm never unimpressed with you, mate. And it continues. The streak continues.
Exactly. Perfect rhyming every week.
Can I quickly ask 13-0 last week?
No, not this time.
No, okay.
I thought
that might be a one-time thing.
I still had a 9-4, and then I sort of did my little housekeeping about how my records are between my 13 leagues, and I'm 87-43, which
Whoa!
I think honestly is probably the best year I've ever had. So, what I'm most proud of, and I brought this up with you a couple of weeks ago, is I kind of want to be around this time. I want to be at least a chance in all my leagues. I don't want to have any leagues that are sort of falling by the wayside. I like to be involved in all of them, and I don't have a league. I'm under 500 now. I had 2 leagues. I was 4 and 5, and I won both of those. So every league's 500 or better. So I'm pretty pumped with that.
Okay. So a bit of back of the envelope maths here. I'm 71-69 across my leagues, so that's about as even as you get. That's Jeff Fisher territory right there.
Even Steven.
But I don't know. There's some where my strategy is to just take the shit out of, but really probably not as many as I think, because I don't know, I've got a lot of teams in that 4 and 6 to 6 and 4 range. So, okay. And the team that's 8-2, that's not the team I thought would be 8-2. So, isn't it funny? Funny's a fairness. Just such a weird maiden. She's a strange beast.
Absolutely.
Speaking of strange beasts, with us tonight is a man famous in Australia for. Oh God, he wrestles crocs. He beats everyone at fantasy. He beat me last week. And, mate, he was famous for winning week 1 in starts of the week. And so emphatically, he's actually been doing, and this, no one else knows about this, but in the background, this bloke has been doing a starts of the week team out of people we don't even pick, Tay, which is amazing, just to keep up the match practice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, Aidan O'Connell. KEV Patterson.
The Croc Hunter.
No. No. Hey. Goodbye. Sorry, boys. I didn't know whether I was singing goodbye to the Bears season, Shane Waldron, or a Matty's winning streak on starts of the week. Yeah, Gardner Minshew. I was saying goodbye to him fucking week 4. I know what you're on about.
I thought you were saying goodbye to yourself and Guillotine.
Oh, is he gone? Kev, you dead?
His head's gone.
I can't say goodbye to myself, Taylor. My head's fucking missed. It's a bit hard to talk with no fucking head.
Well, your head could technically talk to your body because it's separated.
Yeah, what am I, fucking Deadpool? It's just rolling around the ground talking to itself.
Mate, I rhymed, ton with Elev-un? Oh, we can do anything here.
Anything's possible.
Just ask Eminem. There's 100 things that rhyme with orange if you say it right. You're just a lyric master, Taylor. Let's just get on with it.
Such a genius.
Oh, my God. I've been looking forward to this date on the calendar, and that last 25 seconds is exactly why. Oh, my God. So welcome back, Kev. It's great to have you back. And your enthusiasm for starts of the week, but also just in general in the fantasy chat that we've got amongst the Aussie fantasy community is top notch. I mean, your excitement and involvement and energy in there is undeniable, mate. And I 100% am just so pleased to have you in there, and very thankful for everything you contribute in there. All the conversation you bring, all the fun, all the shots at me. It's all fantastic stuff, mate. Love it.
I just saw Matty was buttering him out for a waterbed then after he seemed like he was lurking for one in the Commanders Eagles conversation we were having.
Yeah. Let's not pretend that I'm not fishing for something there. I'm definitely kicking tires.
Could be a few of those tonight, I think.
I've paid off some water bets today. I think I don't know if these have met everybody yet. But yes, I owed Manjot one for the Astro League. I've also eaten some water for another bet that I made heads up with somebody about a player and how they were going to perform this season. And in the coming days, I've got a couple more I've got to pay off just to you, Kev, you handsome devil. I've got a few that I'm going to send you because I owe you two for Raiders quarterbacks.
Whoever thought we'd be losing a bet over Raiders fucking quarterbacks?
Yeah, it was really high-stake stuff.
Yeah, you had Officer Faber versus the Globo Gym Purple Cobras. And I went with Car Ramrod all the way and he got me through.
Yeah, well, when I set out my New Year's resolutions this year, definitely bets on Raiders quarterbacks was something I didn't put on my you need to quit this list. So that will be something that is featuring highly on the 2025 New Year's resolutions, mate. Real faux pas on that one. But you got me in, mate. You got me in.
You watch Minshew and O'Connell will both end up on the same team somewhere else, and Matty and I'll just be looking at each other like, are we doing this again? Huh?
Oh, huh? And you know what's going to happen? We're going to both end up in Indianapolis. Like, Minshew will be back. O'Connell will end up over there. And then I'll be torn because I've got to face Minshew twice as a Jags fan. It's going to be a nightmare.
We're the Global Gym Purple Cobras, and we will rock you.
We've got Blazer and Taser and Laser and all sorts of tasers.
It's friends,
Now, as a special treat for you tonight, Kev, Taylor, do you want to quickly just mention to Kev here? We're hoping to have something arranged that was a little bit special. Do you want to quickly explain to Kev what we almost pulled it off? We almost pulled it off.
At about this point in the podcast, we were basically going to have, we're probably going to lead Kev into some Bears Packers talk, and then we were just going to have our mate Pete Neal pop up, who's a big Packers fan, and we've already had Kev and Pete sort of talk some shit against each other earlier in the year, but it would have been interesting just to have them both on because we purposely brought Kev on to have the Bears Packers week, but it would have been cool to have both of them on together. So we were basically going to have them chat all the way through the podcast, and then we were actually going to have them share a starts of the week team for next episode, which would have been hilarious because I reckon Pete would have picked shit that Kev would have hated, and it would have been great to see him fucking just like melt down live on air. But in the end, it didn't work out. Pete had to put in today, but we just wanted to throw that out there as it would have been a really cool idea.
I'm a draft position fan at this stage, aren't I? You know, the sad part is, boys, in case you don't remember, I requested to come on Packers Week because I was that fucking confident at the start of the year. God, how good that
Things
is.
Things have changed.
So I'm guessing you don't mind not seeing Pete tonight, Kev. Is that part of it?
Mate, I don't mind, honestly. There's a boy in town here who's a Packers fan who keeps very, very quiet and then chirps up the moment they win. I don't hear from him for like 10 weeks. At least Pete back his team all the time.
But in lieu of Pete joining, ambush time, Pete has actually sent me a message to play for you that I haven't heard. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is the danger of live, throwing things in live
he's putting some bad karma out for himself here.
Fuck, I don't know. Are you ready for this?
Trust me, it can't get any worse.
Through the magic of radio, and even though he's not here, ladies and gentlemen, Pete Neal.
Hi, guys. I need a lot of help with my fantasy team here. Okay, here's the last 3 games from my quarterback. The scores, 9.9, 9.1, and 6.3. 6.3. Okay, my wide receiver 1, last 3 games, 4.4, 5.3, 4.2. Absolutely disgraceful. Wide receiver 2, 4.9, 5.6, 6.9. What is happening with my team? Okay, let's move on to the tight end. 3.9.
I think he's out the quarterback.
2.3 in his last match. Okay, we've got some saving grace a little bit here with my running back. 7 and 11.2 in the last 2 games. Okay, kind of respectful, but pretty dog shit. So as you can tell, my team is absolutely horrendous. I don't know what to do with this team. I've got no idea what to do. No one would trade from. No one wants these piece of shit players. So I need some help. And just quietly, this actually isn't my fantasy team. These are the scores of the last 3 games for the Chicago fucking Bears.
Call this, Kev.
This would be our years. Fans. Caleb Williams, says the fans. Oh my God, how good is this organization? Oh my God, what a team, what a team. Oh, what a clusterfuck of an organization. What a clusterfuck of an offense. What a clusterfuck of a...
Wow. Okay. Pete, don't stop.
A lot of clusterfucks there, dude.
Of an owner. What a clusterfuck of the fans. Kevy, I know you're listening to this, buddy, and oh my God, I'm going to sleep so beautifully at night knowing that you are at home crying your fucking eyes out about this absolutely disastrous team they call the Chicago Bears. So, mate, just want to say g'day. Eat a bag of fucking big, sweaty fucking bear dick and have fun under the pod tonight.
Well, unfortunately for Pete, I've had...
Go back, go.
It's still going.
Unfortunately for Pete, I've had 15 fucking years of the Bears being terrible, so I'm pretty used to that. And if the first thing Pete should do as the owner of the Bears is give himself an uppercut and fucking sack himself, because that's how bad that team is.
He's used to 20 bags of dicks.
Well, you probably, Packers fans live in meth trailer parks in Wisconsin, so there's probably plenty of sweaty bags of dicks rolling around there.
I mean, I hadn't listened to that before I played it. I listened to the first 2 seconds just to make sure the audio quality was going to be okay, and then that's it. I didn't want to know what was in it. But when I saw it was 2 minutes long too, I'm like, wow, this is going to be quite something. So thank you for your contribution, Pete.
As soon as I heard the quarterback scores, because I've got Caleb Williams is my only quarterback in a 16-team Superflex IDP, where I'm currently still 8-1 with those scores. So I was like, yeah, I know who this is. He doesn't even need to keep going here.
Oh, my God. Well, thank you, Pete, for being able to join in the show, even though things conspired against him and he wasn't actually able to join in person. So, yeah,
thanks, Pete. Can't wait to maybe one day repay the favour if the Bears pull their fingers out of their collective assholes.
Give it 20 years.
Yeah, like I got in 85, and we've been around for 90-odd years before that. So if I live to 2080-something, we're in with a shot here. We're coming back.
Yeah. I mean, we're all just waiting for it, Kev. We're all just waiting. Says this guy, old Jags fan.
Yeah, we've all got awful teams. We can all really give each other a lot of shit about our teams, can't we?
We actually collectively have a lot of trauma. We should organise group counselling.
Secretly, we all tell the wives, "Hey, look, I've just got to go and give Taylor or Matty a hand," but in fact, we're just going drinking in a dark corner, just to cope.
So,
look, all that matters is you're good at fantasy, and we do all right, except for some teams where I just somehow lost to Manjot the other week, but we'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, and even with that, I still win half the time, kind of. Wow. Poor Manjot, he was really hoping to dunk me with that, but we're just not going to get a chance to meet each other before the pay-up deadline. So, hey, fellas, before we hit the mailbag, Taylor's been through his record as an owner this year, and he's excelling. And, okay, so I'm having the 50-50 year. Kev, just give us a quick insight. How's fantasy been for you this year? No pressure to come up with, detailed numbers on wins or losses, but just give us a quick insight. How's it been traveling? Because we talked to you in week 1 and no one's lost a game in week 1 yet, so everyone's kind of full of pluck, but how's it actually been traveling and what are the big surprises for you?
That's amazing. But yeah, I've got 31 leagues, Matty. A lot of 32.
I knew it was a big number.
16 team superflexes. But the 5 leagues that I really care about are dynasty leagues, and in 4 of them I'm top of the table, either at 8-2 or 9-1. So. And some of those are super flexes where I've got Caleb Williams as a QB or Bryce Young and no one else because Anthony Richardson's a bucket of arseholes.
Fucking hell.
That's a lot of IDP and defenses that are just fucking carrying me there.
Wow. I mean, and you dusted me in I think it was the Aussie Gridiron Network redraft this week in a league where I was pretty sure I was going to get you, but that money night football game was a bag of balls.
You mean the one where when I beat Taylor the other week, he said I was kissed on the dick in that league? Is that the same one?
Probably. I mean, Taylor says shit like that all the time, to be honest. I can't keep track with
I think
how many times.
that was because he was like 11th in scoring, but he was fucking like 6 and 2.
Yeah. And I think since then I've gone like 2 and 1 as well, or something stupid. So
Oh, yeah. I was so sure I had you, and I was trying not to crow, and I'm glad I didn't now, because I would have just worn that egg too. It's been an egg week for me, by the way. I've been wearing a lot between having my protege Manjot just dust me so severely when I was the 1 seed in Astro League. Oh, my God. Anyway, so now I'm behind Taylor in Astro League, which is embarrassing as fuck.
Suck shit.
Yeah, because your team's shit, by the way.
Yeah, no, having Barkley and CMC in a 16-team league is a real struggle.
Yeah, awful, mate. I'm awful. I mean, you didn't mention your amazing wide receivers in that league. Who did you try out last week? Quentin Johnson
it's been so good.
Demi Fehoko or something?
The last 4 weeks, I love to just go through the bags of dicks I've been starting at wide receiver and flex the last 4 weeks in that league.
Yeah.
It's been seriously like turning over 3 guys to waiver wire pickups in a 16-team league every single week. Because
in that period, you've gone 3 and 1. It's fucking unheard of.
Because I've had Mike Evans and T. Higgins as my starting wide receivers, and then even last week, after getting Jacoby Myers off the waivers, which I was pretty happy with, he had a bye. So I literally had my first choice 3 wide receivers on bye or injured. So, I basically started a Chargers stack of Quentin Johnson and Joshua Palmer.
There you go.
Very, very interesting. Luckily enough. I've won. And got decent flex options now, though, because of that, because I've basically got 3 wide receivers, hopefully, when they come back. And then I've got Tyrone Tracy as well as Saquon and CMC. So I've at least got flex sort of covered now. It's just trying to get some of those wide receivers back.
Yeah, geez, T. Higgins has not been fun to own.
Oh, my God. I'm glad I got out of him he was one of these guys I really liked the value at draft time, and I got him in about 4 or 5
100%.
weeks. But I got out of him quickly because he was kind of just this guy that still had value, especially when he'd come back from that burst injury. And he just sort of fit a need for me to sort of pair him with someone else and upgrade. And so I did that in about 3 leagues. One of them was for Nico, and then Nico got fucking injured straight away. So I was actually annoyed about that. But then T just goes and gets himself injured again. Like, he honestly needs a bionic body. Like, he needs something. Like, he can't go more than 2 weeks without popping up with a soft tissue injury from nothing. It's always from, like, training. The guy needs to stop training. I don't know why. He must train so fucking hard.
I told myself I'd stop training years ago, Taylor. It's not a bad life.
We're talking about practice.
I don't need practice. The answer. Pound for pound, one of my favourite basketball players of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, fellas, I reckon it's time to help Joe Public. We've got 3 great brains here, and I'm ready to drag in the sack and the mailbag. You ready?
Where's the mailman? Need some advice?
Would you rather have a small slice of a lovely cake?
Who has the mail?
Or would you rather a huge piece of a dog shit cake?
Thanks to your questions at Pastry Press NFL. And Aussie NFL Fantasy.
I guess this is kind of a shit cake, but it can be a decent cake too.
Those jokes never get old.
They never do.
So as I said, drag the sack. I saw Taylor put his hands over his face. I wonder what was going on.
It's that one that dangles right in front of his forehead, mate.
Oh, fucking hell. They weigh a ton.
Well, not last week after you released all that Sam Seaman, but our first question is from, Ronald McDonald. That's a great handle. God.
I love the attempted rhyme again, too. It's so cool.
Ronald. That's amazing. Do we have any faith in Tua rest of season for fantasy? Tay, you've been riding this milkshake roller coaster at different times. How do you feel about Tua rest of season?
I'm kind of going back and forth on this because you sort of set off, Mike, that you thought that the Miami were turning things around offensively, but defensively you weren't sure about them. I'm actually kind of on the opposite side. I actually kind of feel like their defense is picking things up and their offense looks shit. Even though Tua's been back, their offense hasn't really hit its stride. Like, I know they won a very low-scoring game last week. Like, their defense definitely won in that game against the Rams. It wasn't some awesome offensive showing for them. And so I still have confidence in him moving forward. Like, I do feel like people need to remember the guy went on IR for 4 weeks with a head injury. Like, the expectation that he was just going to come straight back and this team was just going to dominate offensively was probably a bit ridiculous. But there has been a bit of, like, there's been about a year now where this team really hasn't looked themselves. Like, they haven't looked like what they were when they were just putting up 70 points on Denver and things like that early last year. So, I do think the answer's somewhere in the middle. I don't think we ever get back to this ridiculously high-flying offense that they did have. I think teams have worked out the offense a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be what we've seen these first couple of weeks of tour back either. He does get some good matchups moving forward. He's got the Raiders this week, which is very much a get-right spot.
Land and milk and honey.
and he does have, obviously, his best receivers in Hill and Waddle, and then Achane gets involved for him a lot too. So I have confidence in him moving forward. It's just what your expectations are. Do you expect him to be what he was at the start of last year? No, I don't believe that is going to be there for the rest of this year. But are you going to see, a guy that you could start, in a 12-team league, at a pinch in a good matchup? I do think you're going to see that again.
All right. Kev, where do you lean on to it?
Yeah, basically the same as Taylor. I was just having a look before, actually, as well, when you and I were talking about records, Matty. They've got the Raiders this week, who outside of Max Crosby, they don't really have a pass rush. Also very, very bad against, quarterbacks, wide receivers and running backs. They're just not a good fucking team. Next week, they play the Patriots, who also don't have a good pass rush, despite what the Bears O-line would tell you last week. Then they've got 2 games against the Jets, who have looked pretty ordinary, and the Browns. He's definitely a streamable sort of a QB kind of in there with the Staffords and the Nixes and Mahomes. It's just kind of like pick your matchups each week, and he's definitely playable in some of them, I think.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I guess then it sort of sounds like a bit of a, do you see the glass is half full or half empty?
Yeah, it all comes down to matchup to me, Matty. Like, you can't deny Hill, Waddle, HN as well as a passing down back. He's Mostert as well. Like, he's got weapons there, and they're going to have some good matchups where, say if you've got, someone coming up against Philadelphia or someone who's been really, really tough for QBs to play against, and then you've got Tua playing the Patriots next week, you might just say, hey, I'll throw him in. That's probably going to be a better game for me.
Yeah. All right. Hey, next one. I've got a voice question. Not sure who it's from. Let's find out.
Hey guys, it's your boy Manjot here. Got a very special message, of course, for my man Matty. Now, Matty, I love you, man. You're my favorite guy in this entire world. You're an amazing human being, amazing person, man. Absolutely love all the work you do with me across all the things we do, all the projects we do. But I need to say something to you.
It's too much noise.
You suck. We suck at fantasy football, and we just learned that this week. You couldn't even get over double digits with any of your players. I can't even believe it, man. I was expecting a much better fight from you. You were projected to win by 1 point. It was going to be a lot closer, and your team just put everything in the bag. Just felt like
this is not a question, by the way.
Didn't do anything out there. Felt like your team just fell apart. And really, it just feels like what's going to happen to you in starts of the week as well. Team World is going to come back. Watch out for me in the final week of the season, because I'm going to come and I'm going to ruin your starts of the week title. Trust me on this one. The rest of you, World team, make sure I'm in that position. But for now, Matty C, get ready to get dunked on, buddy. Get ready to get dunked on. Pay that water bet, man. I cannot wait to see the video. Get ready to get absolutely dunked on here. Let's go, Pastry State Lions. We own the Carabao Kings, and I was really the guy that absolutely carried that team to second place last year. We all know it now. I am that guy.
Wow. That was not a question, but thank you.
That was definitely not a question.
That was a long statement to say, Matty, you suck.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's right to come in the mailbag. Wow. All right. Eddie, do you guys have any comments on? I've got nothing.
I just want to know who you had that you didn't have a single player scoring double digits.
Do you want me to read you my lineup? Is that what you need?
No. It's just pretty amazing because normally there's always someone who gets me a really good score, and the rest of them might be shit house when I lose.
Okay, there were some double digits, but maybe they're not what you're expecting.
we might have to check with Bears owner Pete Neal about that DJ Moore score to make sure it was right.
Jesus, yeah. Well, this is half PPR. It's not good. It's not good. Anyway, so yeah, my team was balls, put up 86. Manjot throws up 109. Dunks on me. Well done, Manjot, mate. Nice to see the protege just kick the teacher in the groin and run away. All right. Okay, back into the mailbag. Let's pull this back on track. The next one's from Pelican Chief 2. This looks a bit like a trade offer. Which side are you on? Henry and Lamb or Kamara and Amon-Ra? Which side would you prefer to be on?
The fence. Let's be honest here. Derek.
That even?
I'd take Derek Henry and I'd take Amon-Ra. I don't think I want much to do with CD Lamb with what they've got going on at quarterback. And as for Kamara, I just don't see the Saints really making much else happen this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts to take a back seat just to save him for next season.
Wow. So, I mean, he did sign 2 extra years, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, they've got no reason to run him in the ground if they're not going to be competing this year. If they said, we're out, we're going to see what these other guys have got, you rest up for next year, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
So is it a bit more clear cut for you?
Derek Henry over Amon-Ra at this point, but yeah, it's the toss-up.
Okay, just quickly, it sounds like to me, whichever side you are, just stay, pretty much. Like, there's no advantage one way or the other.
Yeah, basically, it's more down to what you need. If you're trading away Derek Henry because you need a wide receiver,
okay.
I don't know if I'd trade him away for Amon-Ra St. Brown with the way the Lions' offense has been. They run the ball a lot. He's not exactly super needed like he was last year. Same with Laporta. I'd probably just stay with Henry.
I'm mostly with Kev. I've got to lean. Like, when you first set that offer, I definitely liked the Kamara and Amon-Ra side better. Mainly because, one, Kamara, you're just getting such an awesome baseline with the passing work. Like, he obviously is getting all the rushing work, which sometimes is iffy because that offensive line sucks balls. Like, so he has some games where he's not fantastic on the ground in terms of his yards per carry, but Derek Carr just fucking dumps off to him so much that he just ends up with this great baseline of points. And even if he doesn't get a touchdown, he somehow ends up with like 15 points in full PPR, just even if he's had like a shit game. And that I like Amon-Ra so much more than CeeDee Lamb right now because I just have the absolute ick about that situation. You saw Cooper Rush at 26 passing yards halfway through the third quarter.
Oh my God.
That's just not going to get it done. There's fucking sunlight in his eyes when he's trying to catch a touchdown, and Jerry doesn't want to close any curtains. Like, it's just a bad situation there. And don't get me wrong, like Kev said, Henry is the best asset out of all of those guys. So that's why I think it is kind of even. But if I'm just like staying this like trade in a vacuum, I think I would rather the pair of Kamara and Amon-Ra because I actually have more conviction on Amon-Ra over CD than probably Kev did. So I think there's a bigger gap just with the situation that CD's in for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I would probably lean that way. But at the same time, like, I don't know how much overall that's pushing you up. Like, I would probably rather look for a different deal, honestly. Like, yeah, if you've got the full ick about Lamb and that's the only way you can do a deal, then go for it. But I don't think that's all of a sudden turning you from a mediocre team to a great one overnight.
So I guess in summary, like Henry, we all agree Henry's the best piece in it.
Yeah.
But if you need to diversify, 100%, like Kamara and Amon-Ra is an upgrade if you need to diversify, right?
Like Kev said, if you're fucked at wide receiver, then I don't mind the deal to get Amon-Ra because then you're getting still a decent running back in that situation. You're probably better at running back than you are receiver anyway. And then you're getting that sort of baseline out of Amon-Ra and not having to worry about these shitty Cooper Rush games or Trey Lance or whatever for them. Like, so if it's very situational. Like, if you're just even everywhere, I wouldn't do it. But if you really, really need help at wide receiver, then I would.
Yeah, okay. That really ties in what Kev's saying. So, okay, all right. I think that sums it up. Pelican Chief 2. Because apparently there was a Pelican Chief before you and before that. Because there was probably a Pelican Chief who didn't need a number.
Just like there were 12 boners before boner 13.
Yeah, boner 13. That's the best handle. Okay. We'll do one more quick one. This one's from at Ray for Day Days. Does Aaron Jones have a handcuff? If so, do we care?
Like, honestly, when I draft, Matty, I like to take other teams' handcuffs instead. So, say, if you take James Conner and I'm sitting there, I'm probably going to take Trey Benson instead of taking my own handcuff. That's just, it's paid off sometimes and sometimes it hasn't. But I think if you are looking at the Vikings at the moment, and you probably would pick up their handcuff because if Aaron Jones goes down, their defense is really good. Whoever that steps into that role is probably going to have a pretty good run there for a little while.
Yeah, I mean, there's a volume thing to happen there, but do we believe we know who the one person is?
No, I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
I think it's Cam Akers. I actually don't think it's close, but I actually feel like Ty Chandler was given the opportunity to be that guy, and then they didn't like what they saw, and they had to go out and trade for Cam Akers. So every time I've watched it, it's always been Akers that seems to be cleaning up everything that Jones doesn't get. So I can't imagine why. Don't get me wrong. Like, do I have complete conviction that Akers will get the exact same usage as Jones if he was gone? No, I don't know that exact amount, but do I believe that Akers would be the recipient of most of the work? Yes, I do. So
that's probably what matters.
If I'm taking a handcuff, it would be Akers. I don't mind what Kev's saying either. Like, when you're taking other people's handcuffs, it actually gives you a better ceiling for your team, because if you're just taking your own, you're basically just insuring your own guy.
Yeah, it's an insurance policy, yeah.
Whereas if you're taking other people's backups, then you're actually giving yourself an opportunity to not only keep your starter, but end up with other guys, other starters as well through injury. Then you can either keep those guys and build your team, or you can trade them. Especially to those guys that just lost the starter, and then you can actually build your team that way. So that's actually a really good tip as well.
Just basic risk reward, really. Take the risk, get the reward. It may pay off, it may not. That's just how I do it.
Risk it for the biscuit, Ray for Day Days. Get a load of it. Well, we do this every week. Last week was one of those rare breaks from it because we had Brad Cummins, and we don't get one of the great coaches on our island in very often. So the chance to go buy low, sell high with him from a coaching perspective, translated into fantasy, was too good to pass up. But Kev, what it means is we've got you this week to talk breakout players for week 11. And by God, there are going to be people who need the good advice here because you're either 6-4, 5-5, trying to make a run. With all that said, I generally run this segment in a particular way. We start with the quarterback we think is going to break out. I'll throw it to Tay first, but it means I'll give you the running back first, and I give Tay the wide receiver first, but I at least give you the tight end. Tight end, generally, bag of wet badger dicks. So I like to make sure we set the guest up all right.
On this week too.
Especially this week.
This week.
Lord Commander Theo Johnson of the New York Giant fell.
Mate,
and you were on him in week 1, and now he's really starting to turn up Trump. So it's a pity that he's on the bye.
Tight end 1 on the season. Like you said, we had Brad Whale come last week, so we didn't actually have anything to recap from last week. So I'll go straight into week 11 with my quarterback. I'm going to take. I've actually got this own conundrum in my Guillotine League where I have Joe Burrow, and obviously there's only 5 teams left, so everyone's kind of got their quarterback. So I kind of got free range to have a look to see if I don't want to take on Burrow, who has a tougher matchup against the Chargers or 6. I'm interested in this guy because he's getting his main piece back, and it's CJ Stroud up against the Cowboys, who are 29th against quarterback. I just think whether he gets Nico Collins back, which should be this week, and then obviously Tank Dell doesn't need to try and step up without hands and be the wide receiver 1. I do feel like this offense is going to move far better than we've actually seen it in the last few weeks, just having that field stretcher. So Dallas are just a bag of dicks against anyone, let alone Stroud getting back his best receiver. I do think this offense is going to move this week. I think Mixon's just going to run the ball so well on the ground, and I just think that's going to open up a lot of red zone opportunities for Stroud. So I'm taking him as my breakout this week because he's had some issues. I think he's down to like 60-odd% started, so people obviously have question marks about him. I'm saying you shouldn't have question marks about him this week because I think he dominates this Cowboys defense.
Oh, whoa. You're saying all this, but you're not giving Tank Dell any fucking respect.
I said even without hands, he can't be a wide receiver 1. But I do think he sliding back into a wide receiver 2 role, I do think that's going to help him and help the team, honestly. So yeah, I just think Collins coming back, stretching that field is going to make a massive difference. I'll just put a number down for him to have 20 plus fantasy points.
Whooshka!
Which doesn't sound like heaps, but given he's only getting started by 60% and what he's sort of been throwing out there the last few weeks, I do think that is a get-right game for him.
Yeah, been a bag of Panther dicks lately. I mean, that's worse than that.
They're furry. No one wants Panther dick.
Panther dick is rancid and horrible. Hey,
Panthers on a 2-game win streak, mate. Don't sleep.
Don't sleep. They're on the bye. Then they play the undefeated Chiefs. I think we can catch some Zeds.
No, Chiefs. Chiefs are going down 21-0. Bryce Young breakout. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I like Taylor Stroud. My only thing is that this Cowboys team has not been very competitive. Like, if they get out to an early lead, you could just see a big Joe Mixon game.
It will be a big mixing game too, I think. And I agree with you. Them not keeping up sucks. But I just think he's going to get enough in 2.5 to 3 quarters, honestly. I just think this our day is going to keep scoring. You saw it from Goff a few weeks ago. Even when they were in front, they just kept piling it on. I think there's a chance. So I don't know if it's like a Cowboys thing. Teams don't seem to let off the gas against them. They just really want to punish Jerry or something. It's kind of hilarious. So I wouldn't be surprised.
None of them everyone's like, I thought I was going to fucking Disney World, not Jerry World, and then they get angry up the Cowboys.
Hey, well, I've got a scenario for you. What if the Texans led 23-7 at halftime? just asking for a friend.
What?
Just the Texans led 23-7 at halftime last game and still managed to lose.
Talking about the Lions game. Talking about the Lions game. I just didn't know whether he was having a shot at you about something. So
I didn't either. I was like, "Is there a personal joke in this?" I just have no idea. He was staring at this fucking screen weird. I'm like, "Well, that's not what he's talking about."
Yeah, it's kind of wondering. I'm old enough to remember when they led 23-7.
Yeah,
and I just kind of wonder.
I do think even though Goff was throwing fucking interceptions for fun, like Oprah was throwing out fucking cars to the audience, but I do think that the Lions offense is definitely a better candidate to come back from 23-7 down than the fucking Cooper Rush, Trey Lance led.
Are you sure?
I think so. I'm going down. I'm going out on a limb. I'm going out on a limb, Matty, but I think that's true.
And that's what I call hosting there, Tay. I just needed a good soundbite from you. That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to get a soundbite.
You got me there eventually. That's what she said.
Okay. So we've got the Stroud take in, but Kev, I've got to imagine Stroud wasn't top of your list, mate. You've got a quarterback who's really ready to get the balls out and bust out, mate.
Mate, there's a few this week that I really like.
It's a good week.
I'm going to go with Justin Herbert against the Bengals. I think the Bengals are doing enough to make it competitive, and Justin is going to have to pass that ball, and you're going to see probably a big week for Lad McConkey as well. And yeah, he's looked really good the last 4 or 5 weeks, and I think the Bengals will keep it in a game script where I think he's going to go top 6 this week as QB.
Oh, top 6 for Cincinnati. Oh, I like that.
Well, Cincinnati's defense is a bag of fucking dicks, so
mate, let's roll with it. That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Why being nice in Cincinnati?
Should be a lot worse than dicks. Dicks are too nice.
Bag of festering assholes or something.
It's a bag of used douches.
There we go. We got you there.
Yeah, we're on the right track here. Look, you had to bring up Herbert with us last week, Maddie. We sort of brought him up last week. I know Brad was really keen on him. It's been a bit of a turnaround for him. Last week was sort of back to what you saw earlier in the year, but I think that was purely prescriptive because they were playing the fucking Titans. They didn't really have to do anything. Whereas this game, like Kev said, against the Bengals, who are definitely going to keep up, it should be a high-scoring game. Herbert looks healthy and he's throwing a lot more than you saw early in the season. So there is a chance that this is one of those games where he has 300-plus yards and it's just a bit of a shootout. So, yeah, I'm with you. I feel like he's in for a really good game, and this is definitely a prescriptive game where you could see a lot of passing yards. And do I have to bring back my fucking Chargers stack? My wide receiver Chargers stack into Astro again, baby. Let's go.
I'll be coming.
Run it back.
Might be coming. You were married to Justin Herbert for a period of time, and to tell you, it's with that I respect that. I also had him as my breakout, and I put my line at 22 points. So, Kev, you and I, simpatico. Who would have thought? But we really.
I don't know if this
agree.
feels good considering how much we've argued about things this year, Matty.
Sometimes, Kev, I just argue with you because I know it's fun.
I know. Just kind of feels like first experience. Like I don't know if I like that. Matty and I agreeing.
We agree. We're two peas in a horrible, horrible pod. I put my line at 22 points, but all the things you said, Kev, I looked down the list of quarterbacks this week, and I thought, of all quarterbacks, I'd like to be Justin Herbert this week. So that's 100% where I went for all the things you said. And, so you've got him top 6. I've got him 22 points. I feel like those two things may even fly in the same air. We could both be really right by the time we get back next week. And to put that next to CJ Stroud, I think that's a good spot. I'm going to come straight back to you, Kev, hot off the press with your running back.
Righto. So I kind of tossed up between a couple here. I'm still kind of really deciding. We're going to go with Devon A-Chain against Las Vegas because Las Vegas' run defense is an absolute fucking bag of dicks. I'm pretty sure Tua's going to probably going to check down to him a lot, and he's going to get a lot of rushing work. So I'm going to go DA for give me over 21 points this week.
21. Yeah. That'd be a good week. Oh, Tay, would you be up for 21 from DA?
You sure you're not worried about Raheem Mostert's 5 snaps? Or, does that really seem to fucking take you out a lot about it?
He's got a point per snap, Tay.
Fuck was the goal?
What worried me was I heard they've just tried to trade for Blake Corum, so that got me a bit worried. But when I realised the Rams wouldn't let him go,
fucking hell, I could not believe what I was watching because I was like, I understand A-Chan's taking over. I'm not an idiot. I understood that,
we know it's his game.
Even the week before only had a 25-30% snap count, but that still resulted in 10 rush attempts for Mostert. So it wasn't like he was only getting used on third down. When he was on, they were giving him the ball at least. Whereas that game, they just didn't play at all. He was standing on the sideline. He looked healthy. It was just a weird fucking game. They just decided they gave it to Jalen Wright more than they gave it's the most, which was just crazy. I didn't really understand what the fuck they were doing. So, honestly, H-Chan is just getting everything now. He's the full workhorse in that backfield now. So, I'm with you. Honestly, in any matchup, he's pretty good. But against that fucking Raiders defense, he could go absolutely man.
He's had a couple of 30 and above games this year too. I wouldn't be surprised if he really breaks one off. 22 is probably a pretty safe floor considering the matchup.
He's fucking lightning waiting to happen, isn't he? That's... But I also worry about him getting hurt a bit. He's both. He comes with this massive high ceiling, but I'm nervous about him, which
glass cannon.
It's the only thing that stops him being a top 3 running back every week, right?
He's a glass cannon. That's bit of old World of Warcraft terminology for mages. You're a glass cannon. High damage, but you break easy.
Oh, my God.
And he looks the size of Matty C, and he wears the Guardian cap, and it looks fucking massive. He looks like he's got the biggest head in the world. And
it makes him look like we put Taylor's head on Matty's body.
Yeah, it seriously does. How does that head weighing him down?
If they had Guardian caps when I used to play, I'd wear one. 100%.
It's it looks all right on an O-lineman because it makes his head just looks in proportion, but you put it on fucking H-Hand, it looks like he's just had a fucking head. He's been bitten by
it's like a lemming.
Stung by 100 bees. And it's like he's going to run a 4.4 fucking 40 instead of a 4.3. It's crazy how slow he is now.
Oh, terrifying. Yeah. God, imagine that. All right. So, Devon Chain, we're going. Sorry, Kev, you moved a little bit. You said 21, then you said 22. Where do you want to put the line? I don't really mind where you put it, but I just want to get accuracy.
Taylor's starting the bidding here. Go in between, Matty. We'll make
Do I hear 24? Do I hear 24?
I couldn't remember what I said first. I'll make it 21.5. We'll go in between the two.
21.5. We know 0.5s. We love 0.5s. Ah, Kev. All right. Tay, where are you going?
Yeah, I'm taking another good matchup. Trying to split this guy and, the other running back and who's actually going to get the touchdowns and stuff can be tough. But I think this is the week for Jahmyr Gibbs up against the Jags, 30th against running back. This is the problem I've actually had sometimes with picking quarterbacks and wide receivers against the Jags is they seem like unbelievably beatable on the ground. And I feel like teams get in front of the Jags, especially with Mac Jones now fucking as their quarterback. I feel like it's going to be more plentiful against this team for running backs than it probably is the pass catchers and the quarterbacks. So I'm going to take that this is one of those Lions games where they just run the absolute shit out of the ball. I almost took Monty, honestly, but I just had that feeling that this is going to be one of those games where Gibbs breaks off like a massive, massive touchdown, like a 70-odd yarder. And I just think he seems to be slightly getting more and more of the share than, say, Monty. Monty seems to be getting like purely sort of like the like trying to get the third down and trying to get the close like 3rd and 2s and stuff like that. Whereas Gibbs, they're using him on the edge. I just think he's going to break out bigger plays than Monty. Monty might have 1 or 2 touchdowns in this game, but I think Gibbs is the one that's going to have like the more yards. So I'm taking him to have a big game in this one. He's obviously always a chance of catching a few passes as well and running them in. So, yeah, I'm taking Gibbs here. It'll probably be, I guess, a similar line. And you know what? I'm just gonna give this I'm gonna go 20 plus with a touchdown guarantee.
Ring the bell. I don't have a bell, but I don't know. We'll find a sound to throw in there.
Ding, ding, ding.
It'll probably be a cow, something like that. But anyway, yeah, it's in there. So 20 plus a touchdown. Guarantee. Come on. I fucking love that, Tay.
If I had a bonus thing on it, I think him and Monty both score. But, just for this, I'll give him the touchdown guarantee and 20 points. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they both score in this game.
Mate, I had Jahmyr Gibbs on my list of folks who I wanted to pull up for this segment too, and I'm looking at going, he'll score 2 touchdowns. But you know what? I actually wrote a second guy down, so I'm gonna leave the Jahmyr Gibbs just for you, and I'm gonna go to Saquads against Washington, who to me have kind of been like they're kind of like the counterfeit check of the NFC to me, and I think this week is one where it turns up because their rushing defense is terrible, and they've only got probably the best running back in the entire fucking league, Saquon Barkley, coming, and I'm going to give him my double touchdown. That's right. I'm going for 2 because that defense has not been good. It's never shown itself to be good. The only game where they showed they were terribly good at all was against the Bears, where they still had their qualms and they still led. They led a whole bunch of scoring drives as an offense, but so many of them were just field goals. I feel like there's a lot of holes in the way that Washington have been getting to where they go, and this week they're going to face the one team they need to make sure that they're better than, and they're going to come up short. So it starts with the running game, and I think it finishes with the running game, and I'm going to say Quads for a double touchdown.
Yep. I've got no issue with that. Washington are weird. They're kind of an enigma on defense, though. It's like they were horrendous at the start of the year. Then they kind of started to bring things back, but I don't know if that was just like sort of things evening out for them or playing, teams that didn't have great offenses. So it sort of evened everything out for them. But they seem to be getting things together in terms of defending like the receivers and the quarterbacks, but they seem still very beatable on the ground. So yeah, Saquon especially coming
through the middle.
Especially coming off a bad game last week, which seemed kind of odd against the Cowboys. I wouldn't be surprised if he had an absolutely mammoth game this week.
Yeah. And they didn't need him against the Cowboys. They got their lead. Yeah. Whatever, it's okay. They could shelve him a bit. But I just kind of feel like this game might not be put away so early. So I just think we're going to see plenty of him. I'm going to keep it with you, Tay, and go to the wide receiver. Who you got?
Yeah, so I kind of went a little bit lower. I feel like this guy's gaining tiers at the moment, and especially with his sort of rapport he's got with his quarterback. I actually brought him up when he first did our buy low, sell highs. He was on one of my buy lows, and I'll be honest, I kind of got lucky in a way with it with the quarterback change because the quarterback change has done everything for him. But it's George Pickens up against the Ravens to a last against the wide receiver position. But it's really
but I've got a second locally.
It's really this connection with Russ. Like his games since Russ has taken over have been amazing. He was already, to me, like I put him as a buy low even when Fields was there, just because I felt like it was one of these things where the eye test wasn't matching his fantasy output, and I just felt like his targets were going up. I felt like things were going to break out for him, but it's always been Russ the way that he plays, his propensity to sort of find Pickens sort of, slashing down the middle. and sort of on the edges and stuff. It just has a way better rapport with him, and it's basically been like I remember Kev brought up that Fields has a propensity to throw the tight end, and so I really liked Frymuth back when Justin Fields was there. But now all of a sudden, when Russ came in, everyone thought, oh, Frymuth's going to be great because it's going to be better for the passing game. But all that's really happened is he's been able to throw to the wide receiver position better, and Pickens has just been a huge beneficiary of that. So, I just think he's in for a really good game. This Ravens defense just cannot stop anything at the moment. They are just getting torched all over the place. Everywhere but the ground, they dominate running backs. Like, running backs can't do anything against them, but then this Ravens offense is so good that it's causing other teams to start throwing on them, and they can't defend it. So, I just think Pickens is in for a good one here.
Yeah, Pickens, he's obviously someone I looked at with a matchup this week against the Ravens, and he is the main target there. Basically, everything Taylor said is basically why he was top of my list for this. So what I've done, I've pivoted to the guy who had number 2 on this list, and I'm going with Lad McConkey. Top 10 this week.
Oh. 10?
Yep, I reckon he gets 2 touchdowns. The Bengals are also asked against a tight end, and he's a short-running slot receiver as well, like kind of in the Keenan Allen mold sort of thing. So I think he's going to get a lot of work in that same sort of area. So,
oh shit, Kev, you come hot. Top 10 wide receiver plus 2 touchdowns. Jesus Christ!
If he gets 2 touchdowns, I'm hoping he's a top 10 wide receiver.
I mean, you can do it without having the 2 touchdowns. So to wrap that in is just
Hooker was the other one I was thinking of. He's had like 28-point games without a touchdown. Like, yeah, it's definitely doable. I think Lad's going to see a lot of work this week.
Yeah, I got, like I said, we talked about Herbert with the 3. I think he's in for a 300+ yards type of game himself. So yeah, I like, the only issue you sometimes have with this Chargers is exactly where the yards go to, like whether it's Josh Palmer or QJ or Lad McConkey. But in the end, like if he's throwing for that many yards in a game like this where they've got to keep up, then you might as well take your shot on one of these guys because there's always a chance it's going to happen.
If Herbert's going to go off, it's got to be someone.
For my last one, give me. I'm going to go Pickens for 110 yards plus.
110 plus. Yeah, sorry, we didn't get a line on you.
I was like, 100's not enough. It's got to be 1.
So this is so Aussie, mate. Just fucking 100 ex GST. So
if you got to add 109, I'll be fucking filthy.
Okay, and again, I mean, the Ravens are... You know what? I love George Pickens. He does so many weird things that are just useless, but then he takes some of the most fantastic catches to watch. Oh, my God. I just love him. He's as a product to watch. Fantasy, he can be hard, but to watch on a field, he's majestic. He's his own thing. Mate, the wide receiver I was going to go with, I looked right at the Indianapolis matchup and went, oh, fuck. Wouldn't it be great if Davante Adams was Davante Adams again? So I'm going to go the touchdown guarantee on him. I'm going to go Davante 18 plus. I feel like that's about right. You give him a touchdown, so that's 6. I think he's going to get 12 from other things. Is that going to be enough? Do you think I need to spice that up?
I don't think you do with him because
you're brave. You're a brave man, Matty. Really, I don't want to touch anything in that fucking Jets offense.
It's not just the matchup. That's the only reason. The Colts are pass.
Yeah, but have you watched the Jets play lately?
I've still got a couple of shares of Adams, and I've actually been trying to put him in for trades this week because both teams are going well, and I'm actually trying to move him for Mike Evans because I'm trying to target the manager of Evans who can't afford to have one more game off with him. And I'm like, well, someone might take Adams for him because they need to win. They see him as an asset they can win with this week. And I still think Evans is getting slept on for the end of the year. I still don't think anyone's realizing how good Baker is with him and the fact that Godwin's gone. I honestly think that Evans is someone that people should be targeting, especially if you've got a team that you can afford to wear his one more game out.
Just to buy. Yeah. Kev, this position is like
a bag of dicks.
The pimples on the bottom of a ball sack. This is why I give our guest the first crack at this, because then it's fucking Taylor's problem solved. What's next? Who's the tight end you want to go at this week? Where's the money at, mate?
Look, there's two really good matchups with Sam Laporta and Dalton Kincaid, but they're both fucking questionable, which makes it a really, real big pain
it's
in the
such
ass.
a shit week. It's shitter than normal.
I even sitting here now, I've changed my mind 3 times, but I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
Against Denver.
That's where we're at.
Kyle Pitts against Denver. Like, Denver's not great against the tight end. They've got a really good defense. It's not great against the tight end.
It's true.
But Kirk wants to move the ball. I think Kyle's going to need to get involved. So, fuck it. Let's go. I don't think making him like a top 10 tight end on the week's going to be a big call because it's a bag of dicks. So, I'm going to go with Kyle Pitts, 10 catches.
Oh,
I like that. I like that a lot.
He needs a breakout game, and fuck it on. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning. Let's get spicy.
Yeah. He's got the Oporto sauce on that one.
Bit tangy, bit saucy. I like it.
Yeah, gives you a bit of zing. 10 catches, mate. I love that because let's face it, the Denver defense. We talk about funnels, Tay. Which funnel do you think Denver is?
They're a funny one. They kind of haven't been the prototypical one because I feel like it's gone back and forward between.
For years, they were the rushing funnel.
Generally, because when Surtain plays, I often look away from their wide receiver one, so that makes me think I'd be more predicated to go with the running back in that situation. So if I had to say one way, I'd probably rather have been playing a running back against them. But generally, when you look at some of their fantasy stats, they aren't too far different in between the two. But yeah, tight end's generally where they're beaten, and that's been for multiple years. There's been other years. I remember when I was doing stats earlier in the year and we were looking at 2023 data, they were getting torched by the tight end last year too. So
middle of the field funnel.
I'll go to mine. This is another one that sort of the quarterback change sort of helped this guy a bit. So I'm taking David Njoku against the Saints, who are 16th against tight ends, so sort of in the middle of the pack. But really what I'm taking him on is he got 28 targets in his last 3 games before they went on bye. So I just feel like he's a huge part of this offense. Obviously, you're seeing guys like Tillman and Judy sort of getting involved in the passing game, but Jameis is just not scared. One thing that we know about Jameis is he's not fucking scared to throw it. He's just going to air that thing out, especially it's a bit of a revenge game against the Saints for him. So I just think this game's going to be predicated on him airing it out. And I think Njoku is just going to have a shitload of targets again. So I just think at the tight end position, that's really all you're after. So, yeah, I've got Njoku there. With an exact line, what I'll probably do for him is I'll go 15 PPR points.
This is amazing because I've written down Njoku versus the Saints. It's a matchup, and it's Jameis. It's nothing else. 15+ points. That's my whole set of notes.
Oh no, Kev felt weird for being in simpatico with you for Herbert. I don't know how I feel about that. At least
Holy
with the tight end.
shit.
What could go wrong at tight end? And me and Matty agreeing. I feel like the world's going to fucking explode.
There we go. That's where we're at. The world is going to have to deal with that. I don't know.
Apologies.
I don't know what happens here.
Apologies to the world.
This is a strange moment. I guess this is what it's like to be in that weird bit where a cyclone blows through, and then you're just in the middle calm bit, and you know another cyclone's coming. It's weird and eerie.
Yeah, the eye of the shitstorm.
We've worked together, Tay, on this podcast for 5 years. Like it has been. I don't think I've ever absolutely to the money agreed with you on a weekly matchup. The way I've
found it at tight end of all positions.
Fucking hell. Here we are. I'm just saying, this is weird.
We could be picking kickers and defenses, boys. Like fucking don't sweat too much about the tight end.
Careful, Taylor used to bring a kicker rhyme every week for a little while there. Don't make him bring that segment back. Jesus Christ.
That was the best part. That was the only way you could actually stomach some of that shit.
The kicker rhyme.
Look how good my streaming kicker was last week.
Cardi party.
Yeah, that's it.
Cardi party.
Let's go.
So we might need to bring that back for the playoffs, actually. That was quite a segment. Wow. Okay, so to recap our breakouts, we've got Stroud, because he's got Collins back, and, look, Mixon's going to eat, but it opens play action. We're going to go 20+ points for Stroud. That's Taylor's call. Kev and I, simpatico on Justin Herbert. Top 6 versus Cincinnati, or I'm also saying 22 plus. We think they could both be true. At running back, Kev reckons Devon Achane versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's go 21.5 or better, because there's plenty to have there. Jahmyr Gibbs versus the Jags is Tay's call. 20 plus points, plus a touchdown guarantee. He needs both. That's pretty ballsy. I've got Saquads versus Washington for 2 touchdowns. At the wide receiver, we've got George Pickens versus the Ravens, who are dead last against wide receivers. Plus, there's a bit of a connection with Russ. 110 yards is the line. Got to go over. Lad McConkey, one of my favorite names in all of football, versus Cincinnati. Top 10 wide receiver, 2 touchdowns, says Kev. I've got Devontae Adams against the Colts. It's iffy, but we think he'll get a touchdown, 18 plus points. Tight end, Pitts versus Denver. They're not a great defense versus tight end. 10 plus catches, says Kev. And weirdly, Taylor and I are fitting in the same suit for David Njoku versus the New Orleans Saints. It's matchup. It's 10 targets. It's going to be 15 plus points. We both fucking agree. It's weird. I'm not okay with it, but there we are. That's our breakout, guys, for this week. How do we feel after that? There was some weird moments.
I don't know. If you're fitting into a suit, Matty, I think I'm stretching the fuck out of that thing.
We're fitting in the same suit. Can you imagine the size of that suit?
I can't.
You and me.
I don't know what I'm picturing. I don't know if I'm picturing me like hulking out and stretching this like ridiculously small suit, or if you're just like fucking in this baggy ass thing. I don't know which one.
It's worse. I'm imagining you and I, like me pressed to your guts, hugging you in the same suit you're wearing at the same time. That's where I am.
I just imagine this gangster suit from like the 40s, just like ridiculously big, just like draping down to the ground.
That's where we're at. Kev, I'm sorry you have to put up with this shit from Taylor and I, but that's where we're up to. It's the 11th week of the season. We're tired.
It doesn't sound any different to what I'm used to, boys. Let's go.
It's about our bar.
Yeah, that's right. It's right up my alley.
Jesus Christ. And with that, it's a magic time of the week. It's Taylor Talk time.
TALOR. Taylor Talk time. That's right. Hot Diggity Dog.
Now, Kev, this is a beautiful section where Taylor mostly does the talking. So if you want to spend a few minutes just dusting through your starts of the week again, just to make sure you're 100%.
I just want to say one thing first. It's not Taylor Talk time. It's how can Taylor fuck Kev starts of the week picks. Because every week when you send me the starts list, and then I go through and I pick a scraps team, and you're like, oh, hang on, these guys are excluded because of Taylor fucking talk.
And I took your boy Theo Johnson last week.
Exactly.
That was a crime against humanity, by the way. Oh, my God. How did you feel the ripple effects of that one, Kev?
Mate, there's still a hole in my heart. That's the whole reason I lost Guillotine League. I think Taylor just shook me right at the start of the week and I was fucked. That was it. I was done.
Well, my week was done. My week was over from the fucking get-go.
He just ripped the heart out of me chest last week and it cost me.
Oh, Kev, I need you on all the fucking time. You are a drop machine.
No, you're right, mate. I'm available whenever you need me. Within reason, probably.
Mate, what I might do is make you host and I'll just listen to the show.
He's a drop machine. He's the Dontavian Wicks of the podcast. Just one of the Packers' 11 wide receiver ones.
Just basically Tank Dell. I've got no hands. I'm dropping everything.
No hands.
All the tanks. Got shot in the leg. I'm Brian Robinson. Let's just keep it rolling. All Matty's good takes.
Get that bullet out of his leg, he'd probably be a good running back. Jesus. All right, Tay, your segment.
Like the love life of me and my wife in the bedroom, I like to make this real quick and, painless. Well, last week I went with the Giants.
There's no other way, is there?
Yeah, exactly. It's the only way to do it, mate. Last week, I kind of realised halfway I was actually doing it that I realised my entire fucking team was the same team. I knew I was doing a full Munich, a full Germany game, fucking Taylor Talk, but then I realised as I was going through it that I just liked the matchup against Carolina in every single position. So my entire team actually just ended up New York Giants. So that was very, fit this segment perfectly because I like to take on guys, not everyone is starting, generally I like to sort of look at guys that are around the 50% or under. So last week, obviously, just took the whole Giants offense, took Daniel Jones against Carolina, took Ty Tracy. I obviously took Darius Slayton, who ended up, succumbing to to that concussion. So obviously that was one of those ones where I just took the shot on him. I felt like everyone was starting neighbours. It was basically picking between him and Wandale and Slayton.
Yeah,
and
you didn't love Wandale.
I haven't liked Wandale for a while. Like, even when we had Courtney on, I just haven't. I've got the ick about him. I just feel like every time you put him into your lineup, if it's not full PPR, you feel like you're getting 6 to 8 points, and it's just like meh. I just don't feel like he's ever a chance at a touchdown. He gets utilized so close to the fucking line of scrimmage. I just never like actually putting him in my lineup, and I got rid of him. I just made the call, but I'm going to get rid of him in all my leagues and just move on, and it's kind of worked out fine. He just hasn't been great. And then I took my shot on Slayton because I thought he'd be the big play guy in this game. And then obviously he just didn't play. So that was a scratch. Ty Tracy was great outside of the fumble, obviously, that cost him a game. But he looked amazing, over 100 yards in the game.
Didn't hurt him in fantasy points, though. Like, if you started the week and said, I'm going to get this many fantasy points out of Ty Tracy, you'd be like, okay. But the fumble after he'd scored more and then to have it roll off is kind of, that's the bit of pill. But I think the optimist view is to go, oh, he was great.
Yeah, at the time of the call, he was 47%. I think he ended up a little bit over 50. It wasn't like, again, this segment isn't like specific, like it has to be under a certain amount. It was just, I wanted to take someone that not everyone was starting, and I just felt like that was a great matchup for him. Daniel Jones was, like he always is, fucking disappointing. It was not a fantastic game by him by any stretch of the imagination, especially in that matchup against Carolina. So definitely not taking that as a win. And then, my boy, no one else's, Theo Johnson. I've been bringing him up since day one. We all know this, Matty. I don't know if anyone else in the podcast did, but I did.
Please let me on Theo Johnson Island. Please. I'll let you on Blake Coram Island.
No chat from anyone else, please. I was obviously being serious. But I obviously taken that Carolina matchup, their last against tight end position. I like Theo Johnson had sort of gotten himself more into the into the pass game in the last couple of weeks. He had the touchdown the week earlier. I just took the shot there. I think it was 7 and a bit points. It wasn't fantastic, but it's still in that tight end position. You'll take that. You fucking take anything over a goose sometimes. So this week, it's about who I can screw Kev with and take off his list, and that's obviously
here we go.
It is. I do think this one will be popular. He was obviously one that sort of fit the starts of the week model, but he's just someone that I just wanted to bring up that I think's in line for a very good game this week.
Oh, Jesus.
It's Bo Nix up against the Falcons. 26 against the quarterback position.
It wasn't top of my list, but he was on there, and no matter who you said, I was going to say it.
That's all I really wanted to hear. He fits a good mold for starts of the week, actually, sometimes Bo Nix, because of the rushing baseline. You get the 6 points instead of the 4. So I was like, you know what, stuff you guys, I'll put him in Taylor Talk. But I'll be honest, like, I had a list of 5 guys, and my whole thought process this week was I just want to pick the guy I had the most conviction on, and that's really who I wanted to bring up in Taylor Talk to spotlight it. But Bo Nix just seems to be going from strength to strength. He's getting more and more confident, obviously, as a rookie. He seems to be fitting this Peyton system perfectly, and it was weird for me. I brought him up, like I literally started him in like 6 leagues one week. It was against Carolina, and he'd come off a bit of a not great game fantasy-wise, but he had 75 yards on the ground. And I was like, if you're getting anywhere near that as a baseline for this guy, if things turn around for him and he starts getting more of the touchdowns than the running backs, he's actually going to be a fantastic quarterback, in fantasy. And that's exactly what's happened the last couple of weeks. And this Falcons team, like I said, 26th against the quarterback position. I just think he's in for another great game.
Yeah. Can I just give you a quick stat that I saw today about Bo Nix that I think is important? 19.5% of his passing dropbacks, he scrambles. And that's in the top 4 for quarterbacks. And I think that's an important stat. So just it leans into what you're saying about the rushing.
It's kind of like we brought up Daniels, and he was, he killed it the first like 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then he was like quarterback 2 because a lot of his rushing baseline. And when we were in draft season, it was like, Daniels seems like the screaming hot value because it's basically like 3 or 4 rushing quarterbacks at the top of the drafts. And then all of a sudden this huge gap down to like Jaden Daniels, who's at like quarterback 12, 13 or whatever off the board.
All these pocket guys.
But then Bo Nix was just undrafted as a quarterback, and he's another guy that's got this rushing baseline, so he's an even bigger value at the moment. So he's the kind of guy that I think people should be scooping up because of that rushing baseline. He actually has a higher ceiling than some of these like pocket passes. So, yeah, I just think he's in for a very good game.
He's a 2-week play too, Tay, because it's a 16 bye next week.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I would grab him if you can.
Yeah, he was on my starts of the week list. Wasn't my top QB option, but he was definitely there. I think they're going to be in a very positive game script this week against the Falcons. And he played really fucking well last week against the Chiefs, which is a really good defense. So I think a lot of people just sleep on that fact a little bit.
I played Mahomes in Arrowhead with whatever the hell he has as an offense. I don't know. I think we're going to enjoy this guy's name in fantasy for many years to come.
Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin. That's what he needs, apparently.
It's all he needs. It's all he needs.
This is going to be a walk in the park compared to being an Arrowhead. So that's another good point.
All right.
Yeah, running back. I kind of looked at someone a bit different here. I kind of went the opposite. I probably didn't take the guy that I was probably the most confident on. I just wanted to bring up someone that I'm not sure everyone was thinking about starting or really even noticed they had a good game last week. But Gus Edwards, the Gus bust, 2-2 came back. And even though he wasn't the snap leader, it was still Dobbins. He had the most yards. He had, I think it was 10 attempts on the ground. He actually just looked good. He's not the kind of guy that's going to get involved in the passing game. So, you know, it's tough sometimes because he goes for 10-55 and it's 5.5 points. It doesn't seem great. But he to me, like, I don't think he came into the year healthy, and then all of a sudden he just dropped off straight away with the injury. And, you know, J.K. Dobbins had the two massive plays. It was kind of the opposite, where Dobbins actually was getting less snaps, but he was getting the more value touches. So all of a sudden everyone just looked at him as the starter. Gus goes, then J.K.'s actually struggled since he's had the full role. And then it's kind of like they are both better when the other one's there in a way. So I do think that Gus, even if he's sharing time against this Bengals defense, I know they're ninth against running back in fantasy, but I just think that's prescriptive sometimes for being able to pass on them so easily, like the funnel again. But I don't think the Bengals are ridiculously good against running backs. I just think this is one of these ones where I just think the system's good for Gus, and I just think he's always an opportunity in the red zone to probably jag a touchdown. But if not, I just think the yards are going to be there in this matchup. He's going to get enough rushing attempts. So he's just one I wanted to bring up as a running back that's probably, I mean, I think his numbers was something still like 10% started or something like that. It might change a little bit,
yeah,
but it won't change much. Like, I still don't think people are trusting him, so I just wanted to bring him up.
Kev?
No, I don't really have much to say about Gus, mate. I still like J.K. Dobbins, but Taylor is very, very correct. They do work well together in the backfield, and he is probably going to start seeing more and more work now he's come off injury. I think the time of J.K. Dobbins being a 100% must start in a 12-team league is probably gone by the wayside with Gus returning.
Ronnie Rivers and that Vidal bloke, I just think they melt away. So.
Hassan Haskins. He's had the revenge touchdown against the Titans last week.
How vulturing. Picking off the carcass.
I will just say, I just think it's better for the team when they're both there. Like even though, you know, Kev just said that, you know, J.K. Dobbins isn't going to get all the work anymore, I do feel like it's just going to help his yards per carry, and that's going to help the Chargers in general. So as an actual, if you're a Chargers fan or just generally watching them, I think having both of them is definitely going to help them. And I guess you could actually say it could help a guy like Herbert, because if all of a sudden those two together are running the ball better, it's just going to open up even more opportunities for him. So, yeah, it probably just helps you guys with your Herbert call.
Chargers fan. You say that like Chargers have fans.
No, they do not.
Wide receiver?
This is a bit of a sort of higher end, hoping for sort of a big play. Although he came straight back last week, and I think he was 353. And when you actually look at the rest of his receivers, that was sort of up there in terms of the receiving work. But I'm going to take Jamison Williams up against the Jags. And I will say that I do have my concerns sometimes with the Jags and the fact that you can just run the ball on them really easily. But I do think, especially during the first three quarters, there's going to be opportunities for the Lions receivers. And I think I would rather take a shot on a guy like Jamison Williams, because people are probably iffy on him, than, say, taking a shot on like Amon-Ra having a massive game in this one. I think this is one of these ones where I think that it's going to be efficient from Jared Goff. And I think that could result in like at least one big play to Jamison Williams. So this isn't I think he's going to have fucking 10 receptions or something like that. I think it's the kind of one where I could see Jamison Williams going like 4th and 90 or something like that. And having a touchdown. Like, I just think it's one of those games for him that there's going to be just a broken play from this Jags secondary, and they're going to be so used to getting destroyed on the ground that it's just going to be like run 6 times, play action to Jamison Williams for a fucking 80-yarder. I really feel like this is one of these ones I can feel it in my plums, Matty, that it's going to be a big play.
Plums?
Yeah.
I mean, Kev, you can hurt my Jags any way you please, pretty much. You think K's on or something?
I think he might be, but the big thing I've got is probably the game script going on there. I think that the Lions are probably going to get out to an early lead, and you're just going to see them pound that rock and eat the clock up.
But, the old screen pass, not a problem against the team you're killing. So can you imagine Jamison taking one of them to their house?
Mate, what I really want to see Ben Johnson do is go back to the old Madden games when they had the halfback option pass, which I used to run all the time with the Greatest Show on Turf with Marshall Falk.
Amen.
Just see him just like pop it off to Gibbs, and all of a sudden Gibbs has just launched it to someone down the field. Like that would just be peak Ben Johnson this year. After all that shit he pulled against the Cowboys.
The Lions just don't give a fuck either. Like, you just saw even against the Titans a couple of weeks ago, even though like that wasn't through the passing game. I think
they ran up a 50 burger.
They were up like 45-10 and Goff had like 50 yards or something. But it just seems like this team doesn't have these like morals of like, and honestly, it's refreshing. I fucking hate when teams just like decide to run the ball out in the second half because they don't want to fucking smash the team. It's
30-10, and they're like, let's run it.
Dan Campbell just doesn't give two assholes. Like, he's just like, fuck these guys. We're gonna pound these guys.
It's Sean Payton.
Ground.
Do you remember when the Saints used to do that? They'd be like, you know what? Fuck you, 68-10. Fuck you.
Fucking defense, you ass clowns. Like, why should we stop playing because you guys suck?
We're keeping Breeze in there. We're keeping Debbie Henderson in there. We're keeping Marcus Colston in there.
Wild about it too, though. Like even in basketball, on that Taylor, like you see in the NBA,
can't stand it.
Up by 10, like fuck it, man. If you got 1 point away from getting a 50 burger, go down and get it.
Yeah,
I fucking see this whole sportsmanship shit.
Nah, that's my man.
You don't put out your best effort. If you don't put out your best effort, like say in the NRL or something, they're gonna fucking hate you.
Yeah.
And you get dropped next week. You're going to be playing for the brickies.
Drop 50 on me and make me fucking work harder next time we play you.
Make me go to training.
Go Lions. I'd say just smash everyone. I don't
76-8 this week. Lions beat the Jags, by the way. 76-8. I'm putting it in there.
Jamison Williams, fucking 8 touchdown hero.
Do you have a guy at the position of like pimples on a ball bag for me?
Ding, ding, diddling, ding, ding, diddling. Big Montana. Will Disley, baby, up against the Bengals.
was on my starts list, but not top, but still disappointing.
Again, like we've brought up 100 times, I think this game's a shootout, and I think it's going to be one of these games where Herbert just throws the ball a lot, and I just think Disley's going to be a part of it. You've seen him at the top of target lists a few different games, and Bengals have been torched by tight ends a lot. So that's just a position. They don't defend a lot of positions well, but they seem to let the tight end go even more so than normal. So, yeah, I just think Disley's going to get forgotten about in the middle there, and I don't know how you can forget about Big Montana in the fucking middle, but I think they will. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for him here.
I'll never forget about Big Montana, mate. Never. I think about him all the time.
I think you took him in starts one time, didn't you?
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, I think Matty took him.
That's a big sky state because there's no fucking mountains. And so the sky just seems to go forever. And, that's my love for Will Disley.
Yeah. Mate, it's like I said, you look at matchups at tight end and just the fact he's getting a decent target share as it is. So those two sort of combine together. It's better than a lot of the other assholes in this position, put it that way.
I think my love for Will Disley has gone so far that to say it's as broad as the sky is probably nicer than anything I've ever said to any partner I've ever had in my life. And the guy's a ginger, so he's up against it, and here I am with that kind of love. Yep. He steals souls.
My son's a ginger, so maybe he's his real dad. And look, and if that was true,
how did that happen, Tay?
I don't know, but I would say well done and shake his hand because he deserves it.
Wow. Okay, so can I do a recap here? I've got for the Taylor Talk. I've got Bo Nix versus Atlanta. Just it's matchup. It's running. It's the opportunity to break out of the pocket and do things with his legs. But also Atlanta, they're not some great defense. Gus Gus Edwards against the Bengals. He's back. He's back. Tay, you've always had a soft spot for Gus. And now, all of a sudden, he's the rushing leader for the Chargers in an offense that didn't even give him the ball a lot. So, wow, what happens when he has a defense that can't stop a fucking drunk toddler? Then Jameson Williams against the Jags. Fuck, the sky's the limit. God even knows where all the points are going to come from. Maybe everywhere for the Detroit offense against this terrible Jags defense. And then, of course, Will Dissly, Big Montana, in the same game as Gus, going the rare running back, tight end stack. Mate, I did this in starts last week, and do you know what happened? It come up trumps. It did. Wins elections, the whole lot.
Classic running back tight end stack, mate. We all know it's been beloved by fantasy players for years. So who am I to judge it and go against it?
I'm pretty sure it's undefeated in segments we've done this year. I actually am. I'm pretty sure.
Do the
most
awkward shit you can do, and it seems to work.
Fucking hell! So there you go. That's our Taylor talk this week. And Kev, you've done a great job hanging in there through getting a whole bunch of shit from Pete that I didn't know was going to happen at the start of the episode. Having to put up with just listening to Manjot rain on me. I'm sorry you had to live through that. And then surviving the mailbag breakouts and now Taylor talk. You've been an absolute gentleman.
Fuck, I haven't been called a gentleman a long time, Matty.
Yeah, no.
Pete, as for Pete, mate, never heard of her. So.
That's a classic home run right there. See you later. Mate, the important business comes in the next episode. We're going to just dive back into the mailbag to help out the public. But, mate, starts of the week I know is super important to you. It's actually at the fibre of your being. You're back for the starts episode. You got to be.
Oh, mate, wouldn't miss it for the world. That's the whole thing, isn't it? You said, Kev, if you don't do Friday show, you can't do starts. And I said, Matty, you're a bully. And said, that I am. So here I am.
People are calling me worse than that, but that's probably true.
I'm just on Team Manjot here after his rant.
But I imagine everyone's on Team Manjot after that. It's very easy to get recruited by Manjot. He's such a nice guy. Hey, Tay, you've got a bit of work to do with starts. I'm looking forward to recapping last week.
Yeah, I'm not. Although it's it wasn't last, so I can't exactly feel like it was the worst week ever. But yeah, look, I had 4 guys that actually played. Technically, I don't know if you count most at fucking playing, but I actually had 4 guys actually fucking put a uniform on this week. So I'm heading in the right direction, Matty.
Yeah, there you go. That's 33% better than you were doing last week. So let's see if that's reflected.
I had no one fucking get sick like an hour out before the game. So that's a huge plus.
It's struck down by God himself, pretty much, heaven almighty.
God hates my starts of the week this year. He fucking hates it.
Well, he's not the only one.
Life does.
So with all that said, we're out of here on a Friday. It's been a bumper show. We're back to do mailbag starts of the week. I can't wait. You can find everything that we do. Plus, mate, if you haven't caught G'day Gridiron, Isaac was back with Ian to do what, frankly, to me has been the best reactions episode I've ever heard. Find that right here where you found us and go back and get that episode. It is fantastic.
I love the overreactions from a sad Titans fan and Lonely Bears Club.
Shout out Isaac. He traded me Calvin Ridley today, so he's a real trooper. He knew how much I wanted him.
Yeah, sounds like he knows you could use the help. Isaac, he's actually found his lane a bit. I don't know that he knew 8 weeks ago he was going to be a podcaster, and all of a sudden here he is. He's doing shows all over the place. He's been with us before. He's now notching up. He's on a hat trick with Ian over there at G'day Gridiron. You can find everything they do. Brad and Nick are generally there for the late show. It sounds like Isaac is becoming a real starter for the early show with Ian over there at G'day Gridiron. Find everything they do, but also find everything that Manjot does, by the way. He is not just a professional at raining shit on me when he beats me in a matchup. He is also Australia's voice of Gridiron. And we do a terrific show together called Aussie Gridiron Today, where we recap a whole bunch of stuff that happens in the ACT Gridiron League. But it's finally happening. There are clubs from across the country who are sending in what's happening in their clubs, and you can find all of it. It's going to become a national show. I can feel it, and you're going to be part of it. It's over at Pastry Press NFL, but you can find that link here, along with everything we do, including Manjot Night Football on Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. The whole lot's there, plus our great merchandise store. We can buy all kinds of great merch. Fellas, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to look forward to seeing you all on Sunday for the big start show because I've kind of got a bit of crow about. And I'm looking forward to seeing you both there. In the meantime, hooroo, and see you on Sunday.
Shout out Big Montana.
Blake Coram.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Boys, I am full of jizz. My balls weigh a ton. It's time for week 11. Let's go.
Just ask Eminem. There's 100 things that rhyme with orange if you say it right.
Do we believe we know who the one person is?
No, I wouldn't have a fucking clue.
Aussie?
Just want to say, g'day. Eat a bag of fucking big, sweaty fucking bear dick.
I can't say goodbye to myself, Taylor. My head's fucking missing.
NFL?
Our first question is from, Ronald McDonald. That's a great handle.
Doesn't sound any different to what I'm used to, boys. Let's go.
Fantasy.
Fuck, I haven't been called a gentleman a long time, Matty.
Get ready to get dunked on, buddy.
Nice to see the protege just kick the teacher in the groin and run away.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Taylor just shook me right at the start of the week and I was fucked.